I honestly thought my marriage was solid. Not perfect, not movie-level romantic, but stable. My wife Emily and I had been together for 11 years. We had a house, a daughter, 2 decent jobs. Normal life. Or at least, that's what I thought. About 6 months ago, Emily suddenly became obsessed with self-improvement. New clothes, new makeup, gym membership, yoga classes 3 nights a week. At first, I actually felt happy for her. She seemed more confident, more energetic. Then, little things started feeling off. She changed her phone password, started sleeping with her phone face down, smiling at texts and hiding the screen. And every time I asked about it, she'd laugh and tell me I was paranoid. I wanted to believe her, so I ignored the feeling in my gut. Until
for a few seconds, nobody said anything. My daughter just kept eating like she hadn't detonated a bomb in the middle of dinner. Meanwhile, Emily looked absolutely terrified. I tried to stay calm and asked, "Who's Jason?" She answered way too fast. "Oh, he's just someone from yoga." Just someone from yoga? Then why was my daughter talking about him like he'd been inside our house multiple times? I looked at my daughter again and asked carefully, "What do you mean he sleeps over?" And before Emily could stop her, my daughter said, "He comes over after you leave for work sometimes." I worked night shifts twice a week. My stomach immediately dropped. Emily suddenly interrupted and started laughing nervously. No, she means he visited one time after class. She's confused. But my daughter frowned and said, "No, Mommy, he sleeps in your room." Dead silence. I honestly can't describe what that moment felt like. It was like my entire body went numb all at once. Emily immediately grabbed our daughter and told her to go finish dinner in her room. The second she left, Emily started crying. Not normal crying either. Panic crying. The kind people do when they know they've been caught. She kept saying, "It's not what you think," which honestly is probably the most insulting sentence a cheating person can say. Because it's exactly what you think. I asked one question. How long? At first she denied everything. Then she admitted Jason existed. Then she claimed it was only emotional. Then finally...
The next morning, I waited until Emily left to run errands. Then I started searching the house. At first, I felt ridiculous, like maybe I was becoming paranoid. But deep down, I already knew I was going to find something. And eventually, I did. Hidden inside an old storage box in the back of our closet was a small black prepaid phone. Turned off. No password. Almost like she thought I'd never look. My hands were literally shaking when I powered it on. And within seconds, my entire marriage collapsed. Messages, photos, videos, hundreds of them. Some went back nearly a year, which meant she lied about the timeline too. The 5 months confession was complete nonsense. And the messages weren't just sexual.
Finding Jason's wife was easier than I expected. Her social media was public. Family photos, vacation pictures, anniversary posts. The kind of profile that makes you feel sick when you know the truth and they don't. For almost an hour, I stared at the message button, trying to decide if I should say anything. Part of me wanted to stay out of it. But honestly, if our positions were reversed, I'd want to know. So I sent everything. Screenshots, photos, call logs, all of it. Then I turned my phone off and went for a drive because I genuinely didn't want to see the response. A few hours later, when I finally checked my phone again, I had over 20 missed calls, mostly from Emily, and 3 from a number I didn't recognize, Jason's wife. I eventually answered, and the first thing she said was, "I'm so sorry." Not angry, not screaming, just completely shattered.
My fiancé disappeared 3 weeks before our wedding. Then, I found out where all our money went. I was with Rachel for almost 6 years. And honestly, I thought I had everything figured out. We already had the venue booked, invitations sent out, flights paid for. We were supposed to get married in less than a month. Everybody kept telling me how lucky I was. She's gorgeous. She adores you. You guys are perfect together. And I believed it. Looking back now, there were red flags everywhere. I just ignored them because I trusted her. Rachel was obsessed with appearances. Social media, luxury brands, perfect photos. Everything had to look successful, even when we couldn't really afford it. Meanwhile, I was the complete opposite. I worked long hours, saved money, and tried building a stable future. Most of our wedding expenses came from me. Not because I minded, but because Rachel constantly said things like, "We only get married once. I want it to feel magical. I don't want people thinking we're cheap." So I paid. More than I probably should have. A couple months before the wedding, she convinced me we should combine finances to prepare for marriage. Huge mistake. At first, nothing seemed strange. That was it. No explanation, no phone call, no apology worth anything. Just one text after stealing almost our entire future. At first, I honestly thought something terrible had happened to her mentally, because who disappears like that 3 weeks before a wedding? But then more information started coming out, and every new detail somehow made things worse. Her family had no idea where she was. Her friends suddenly stopped replying to me, and one of the bridesmaids blocked me entirely after I asked if Rachel was okay. That's when I realized something was seriously wrong. People knew more than they were saying. Then I got a call from our wedding venue asking about a missed payment, which made no sense because I had already transferred Rachel the money for it weeks earlier. So I checked. The payment was never made. Same thing with the photographer, and the florist, and part of the honeymoon. Thousands of dollars I had sent Rachel for wedding expenses had simply vanished. At this point, I wasn't even heartbroken anymore.
For the next couple days, I barely slept. I wasn't even crying anymore. I just felt empty. Meanwhile, Rachel's family kept calling me non-stop, apologizing for her behavior, like somehow they could undo what happened. Her father sounded genuinely humiliated. Her mother cried every time we spoke. Apparently, Rachel barely contacted them either. Just sent one message saying she was following her heart, which honestly sounded insane, considering she had just stolen tens of thousands of dollars. Then things took another turn. About a week later, I got a message request on Instagram from a completely random account. At first, I ignored it. Then, I saw the profile picture. It was Rachel. Except she looked completely different. Heavy makeup, luxury hotel background, champagne photos, trying very hard to look happy. The message only said, "Can we talk?" I stared at it for almost 10 minutes before responding.
Honestly, part of me hoped she'd say this was all some huge mistake. She didn't. Instead, she immediately started trying to manipulate me emotionally, saying she never meant to hurt me, saying she needed to find herself, saying I was too controlling about...
But karma had other plans for Rachel. Because about 3 months later, I got a phone call from an unknown number at almost midnight. I almost didn't answer it, but something told me to pick up. And the second I heard her voice, I knew everything had fallen apart. Rachel was crying so hard she could barely speak. Not fake crying either. Real panic. Real fear. She kept saying, I didn't know who else to call. Turns out, her perfect Miami life wasn't so perfect anymore. The guy she ran away with? Yeah. Apparently he wasn't some rich entrepreneur like he pretended to be online. He was basically a professional scammer. According to Rachel, he bounced between women constantly, living off their money and pretending to be successful. And the second her stolen savings started running low, he changed completely. Stopped taking her places, started disappearing at night, started getting aggressive anytime she mentioned money. Then, one day she checked their shared hotel room while he was in the shower and found messages to multiple other women. Same lines, same manipulation, same fake promises he used on her. Except now, he was using her money to impress the next.
The next morning, I expected to feel guilty. Honestly, I thought I'd wake up questioning myself, wondering if I'd been too harsh. But instead, I felt calm. Like my brain had finally stopped fighting reality. For months, I'd been mourning the woman I thought Rachel was. But that woman never actually existed. And once I accepted that, something inside me finally let go. A few weeks passed after the phone call. Then one afternoon, I got another message. Not from Rachel this time, from her mother. And I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won again. The message was surprisingly short. She just said, "I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better than what my daughter did to you."
A few days after that grocery store encounter, something happened that completely caught me off guard. I got an email from my bank's fraud department. At first, I thought it was just another routine update connected to the old investigation. But then I opened it. And apparently, Rachel had finally gotten herself into real legal trouble. Not because of my money, because of someone else's. Turns out after coming back from Miami, she got involved with another guy almost immediately. And according to the investigator who contacted me, she'd repeated the exact same pattern. Fast relationship, moving in quickly, shared finances, emotional manipulation. Except this time, the guy pressed charges almost instantly after discovering money missing from his account. And unlike me, he didn't hesitate. The investigator asked if I'd be willing to provide records connected to my own case as supporting evidence of behavior patterns. Honestly, I sat there staring at the screen for a long time. Because even after everything, part of me still didn't want to destroy her life. That's the crazy thing about loving someone deeply. Even when they hurt you, some part of your brain still wants to protect them. But then I remembered something important. Rachel didn't ruin her life because people told the truth about her. She ruined it through her choices. So I cooperated fully. Sent the bank statements, the screenshots, the timelines, everything.
About a year later, I thought the entire situation was finally buried for good. No messages, no random calls, no mutual friend drama. Just silence. The kind of silence you fight hard to earn after chaos. Then one evening, I got a notification from LinkedIn of all places. And immediately, my stomach dropped. Rachel viewed my profile. That was it. No message, no explanation. Just a profile view. And somehow that tiny notification unsettled me more than the midnight phone calls ever did. Because it reminded me how betrayal changes your nervous system. Even when you heal.
A couple months after that, my wife and I were cleaning out old storage boxes in the garage when I found something I completely forgot existed. An old notebook. One of Rachel's. At first, I almost threw it away without opening it. But then I noticed my name written inside. And curiosity got me again. Bad habit, apparently. Most of it was random stuff. Shopping lists, vacation ideas, wedding notes from years ago. But near the back, there was a page that honestly chilled me a little. It was a list. 2 columns. One titled, Safe Life. The other, Exciting Life. Under Safe Life was my name. Under Exciting Life was literally just question marks and descriptions of fantasies. Luxury, travel, power couple, rich social circle. And suddenly everything clicked together in a way that almost made me feel sorry for her. Rachel spent years treating life like an Instagram feed instead of reality. She wasn't chasing love. She was chasing an identity. The idea of becoming someone people envied. She sacrificed real relationships trying to force herself into a fantasy version of happiness. My wife asked if I was okay after reading it. And honestly, for a second I just sat there quietly thinking about how dangerous comparison culture really is. About 2 years after everything happened, I ran into one of Rachel's old friends at a wedding. And within maybe 5 minutes of small talk, she gave me a look like she wanted to tell me something. Then finally she said, "You know Rachel talks about you all the time, right?" That caught me completely off guard. Because by that point, Rachel barely existed in my mind anymore. Apparently, though, I still existed in hers. Her friend said Rachel constantly brought me up whenever relationships failed. Always comparing new guys to me. Always talking about how safe life used to feel. And honestly, that was probably the most ironic part of the entire story. Because the exact stability she once saw as boring eventually became the thing she missed most. Her friend also admitted something else that genuinely surprised me. Apparently, Rachel's family blamed the Miami guy publicly, but privately, they knew Rachel had been unhappy long before he appeared. Not because of me, because she was addicted to fantasy. Every year she reinvented herself. New personality, new goals, new online persona. Nothing was ever enough for long. And people like that usually confuse emotional intensity with happiness. If life feels calm, they panic. If a relationship feels stable, they call it dead. So they chase drama because drama feels exciting. But excitement burns. A few years passed after that. Life became normal again. Not movie perfect, just real. Weekend grocery runs, bills, lazy Sundays. Falling asleep on the couch next to someone you trust completely.
And honestly, after everything I went through with Rachel, normal started feeling like a luxury. Then, one random afternoon, I got another message. This time from a number I didn't recognize. And against my better judgment, I opened it. It was Rachel. Again. But the message felt different this time. No manipulation, no fake confidence, no dramatic emotional speech. Just one sentence. I owe you an apology, even if it's years too late. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Part of me didn't even want to engage. But another part of me was curious whether people like Rachel ever actually change.
About 6 months after that final conversation, I was sitting in my car outside a hardware store when my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. For a split second, I actually smiled. Because old me would have immediately felt anxiety. Now, it was just another phone call. I answered casually. And to my surprise, it was Rachel's mother. Her voice sounded older, softer somehow. After a little awkward small talk, she told me the reason she called. Rachel was getting married. And honestly, that news hit me in the strangest way possible. Not pain, not jealousy, just disbelief at how much time had passed. Her mother explained that Rachel had been with the same man for almost 2 years now. Quiet guy, teacher, apparently very patient. Then she said something that genuinely stayed with me. He met her after she stopped trying to impress everyone. That sentence explained almost everything. Because Rachel spent most of her 20s performing instead of living. Performing happiness, performing success, performing relationships. And maybe for the first time in her life, someone met the real version of her instead of the character she used to play online. Then her mother told me something else.
Years later, this entire story became something I almost never talked about anymore. Not because I forgot it happened, but because it stopped feeling like an open wound. It became one of those strange life experiences that permanently changes you without controlling you. Then one evening, my wife and I were at dinner with friends when the topic of relationships came up. One of our friends asked, "What's the biggest mistake people make before getting married?" Everyone started giving normal answers. Poor communication, financial stress, trust issues. But I remember sitting there quietly for a second before answering. Marrying potential instead of reality. The whole table went silent. Because a lot of people don't fall in love with who someone actually is. They fall in love with who they hope that person will eventually become. And that's dangerous. I spent 6 years believing loyalty and patience would eventually turn Rachel into someone emotionally stable. But relationships don't work like that. Love can support growth. It cannot replace character. Later that night after dinner, while driving home, my wife asked me something I'd never really considered before. She said, "If Rachel never betrayed you, do you think you would have ever realized you deserved better?" And honestly, probably not. That's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of good people stay in bad relationships because nothing catastrophic happens. No huge explosion, no obvious abuse. Just years of emotional exhaustion disguised as love. Rachel leaving forced me to confront something painful. I had spent years overvaluing loyalty while undervaluing peace. I thought enduring unhappiness made me a good partner. But constantly surviving someone else's chaos isn't love. It's emotional survival mode. And once you finally experience a calm relationship, you realize how exhausting dysfunction actually was.
A few months after that conversation, I randomly came across an old photo of me and Rachel while cleaning files on my laptop. Beach trip, both smiling, looked happy from the outside. And years ago, that picture probably would have destroyed me emotionally. But now?
And honestly, if you asked me years ago whether I'd survive losing Rachel, I probably would have said no. Because back then, I thought losing her meant losing my future. But life has a strange way of revealing the truth slowly. I didn't lose my future when Rachel left. I lost an illusion. The illusion that loyalty alone can save a relationship. The illusion that love automatically changes people. The illusion that being needed is the same thing as being valued. For a long time, I thought the worst thing Rachel ever did was steal money from me. But it wasn't. The worst part was how long I allowed someone else's chaos to define my self-worth. And maybe that's why I'm telling this story now. Because some of you listening are probably doing the same thing. Making excuses for someone who keeps hurting you. Confusing anxiety with love. Calling emotional instability passion. But real love